All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're diving into a huge nationwide conversation that's happening as we speak, one that's really going to define Canada's place in the world for years to come. And yeah, we're talking about artificial intelligence.
You gotta start with this big idea. Canada isn't just another player in the AI game. We were actually one of its architects. And right now, the country is working to figure out what the next chapter of that leadership looks like. This isn't just about cool tech, it's about our economy, our jobs, and our future.
So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about this big AI moment for Canada. Then, we'll get into what this national consultation is all about. We're going to spend most of our time on the really big questions, like what skills do we all need? And finally, we'll tie it all together and talk about what this means for all of us.
So, how exactly is Canada figuring all this out? Well, the answer is through a national consultation. Think of it as a massive effort to collect ideas from every single corner of the country.
And this isn't starting from zero. The whole journey really kicked off back in 2017 with the first big AI strategy. Just this year, in 2024, there was a major investment in our own secure computing power. And all of this, it's leading up to a 30-day national sprint in October 2025 to figure out the next phase.
The scope of this conversation is, well, it's massive. The government is looking for input across 9 key themes, and that covers pretty much everything you can think of, from research all the way to national defense.
Just looking at this list, you can see how broad this whole thing is. But for this explainer, we're going to zero in on the one theme that really, truly affects every single one of us: skills and AI literacy. Now, to get a real sense of the kinds of ideas being talked about, we're going to look at a submission to the consultation from Adina Gray. She's an expert in AI literacy, and her input is a fantastic window into the kind of thinking that's shaping this national strategy.
So the consultation kicks off with a pretty fundamental question, one that's probably on a lot of our minds. What skills do we actually need to do well in this new economy?
And Adina Gray's answer here is fascinating, because it's not about choosing one over the other. She argues the future isn't just about being a coder. It's about blending that technical know-how with uniquely human skills, like critical thinking, communication, and, maybe most importantly, ethical judgment. It's funny, right? The paradox of the AI age seems to be that our most human skills are becoming our most valuable ones. This idea of blending skills, it points to something way bigger. This can't just be about training a few specialists. It's got to be about creating a basic understanding of AI for everybody. We're talking about what's called AI literacy. Okay, so the next logical question is, how do we actually do that? How do we make sure Canadians don't just use AI, but really get what it is, including its incredible potential and, of course, its pitfalls? The proposal here is a super clear 3-step approach. First, you build it right into our schools, from kindergarten all the way through university. Second, you run public awareness campaigns so people start recognizing AI in their day-to-day lives. And third, and this is so important, you focus on hands-on learning and just having open conversations about how to use these powerful tools responsibly.
But of course, none of that works if only some people have access to it. And that brings us to the third and maybe the most critical question from the consultation: how do we make this fair for everyone?
The solution being proposed is to treat AI literacy as a public good, just like a library or a park. This means free, accessible learning everywhere, from big city libraries to small community centers. It means providing materials in English, French, and Indigenous languages. And it means pushing employers to upskill their entire workforce, not just a couple of tech folks.
Okay, so let's zoom out. We've looked at the process and some really specific ideas. But what's the big takeaway here? Why does any of this matter so much?
Well, the bottom line is this. Understanding AI is no longer some niche technical skill. It's quickly becoming a foundational competency for modern life, as basic as reading or math. It's absolutely essential for our economy, but also for making sure we have a fair and equitable society as we step into this new era.
And I want to leave you with this quote from Adina Gray because it just gets right to the heart of it. The best learning is hands-on, it's inclusive, and it meets people where they are. That really feels like the guiding principle for building a truly AI-ready Canada.
Canada is literally in the middle of defining its AI future. And this whole consultation, it's open to everyone. Founders, workers, students, you. This conversation isn't happening in some far-off boardroom. It is happening right now. So, the final question really is, what role will you play in shaping it?